Namaste. My family and I, on the occasion of Sankranti, have arranged a Bomalakalpu. As part of this, our family has also arranged the life story of Adi Shankaracharya. Adi Shankaracharya wrote 18 commentaries on the scriptures, including the Brahma Sutras, the Bhagavad Gita, and 12 major Upanishads. He wrote about 2 dozen books elucidating the fundamentals of the Advaita Vedanta philosophy. Some of these books are Vivekachudamani, Atmabodha, Vakyavriti, and Upadesha Sahasri. Before continuing with Adi Shankaracharya's life story, we must understand the phrase Shankara Sankara Sakshat, which means Shankara, here Adi Shankaracharya, is none other than Shankara, Lord Shiva himself. The story of Adi Shankaracharya starts with his parents, Adyamba and Shivaguru. They were not able to bear children for a long time and they decided to pray to Lord Shiva for a child. Then, Lord Shiva appeared in Shivaguru's dreams and asked him if he wanted an Alpayusha Vidvamsa or a Dirghayusha Murkha. Immediately, Shivaguru had chosen Alpayusha Vidvamsa. Then, Adi Shankaracharya was born. His father died when he was 3 years old, and then, with the help of his relatives, his mother performed his thread ceremony, after which he went to the Gurus to learn Vedas. Usually, each Veda would take several years to learn. However, he had managed to learn the 4 Vedas, Vedangas, Darshana Shastras, etc. in very less time. In Vedic culture, it is customary for a brahmachari to ask for bhiksha, which means alms. Following the same tradition, Adi Shankaracharya went to a small house and asked for bhiksha. The woman there had nothing to offer but a dried amla or gooseberry, which she immediately gave to Adi Shankaracharya. Pleased with this act and feeling empathetic for her situation, he had prayed to goddess Lakshmi with the Kanakadhara Totum, by which the goddess immediately showered golden gooseberries near her house. After this, Adi Shankaracharya returned to his home to serve his mother. After some time, his mother found it difficult to go to the Purna river every day. Seeing this, Adi Shankaracharya prayed to the river to change her course nearer to the residence of his mother, to which the course of the river changed as per his wishes. One day, Adi Shankaracharya was taking a bath in the river when a crocodile had caught his leg. Convinced that the only way to get out of this situation alive was to take sannyasam, he asked his mother for permission to do so. His mother, though unwillingly, had agreed to this to save the life of her dear son. With this, Adi Shankaracharya had taken manasika sannyasam and the crocodile left him. After getting out, his mother told him that since he was her only son, he was to come back and perform her funeral rites after she passed away, for which Adi Shankaracharya agreed to return to her whenever she even thinks of him returning. Adi Shankaracharya had then started in search for a guru when he came across a cave near the river Narmada, where the sannyasi Govinda Bhagavad Pada was residing. At this time, the Narmada river was flooding, and in order to save the people there, Adi Shankaracharya fit the entire river Narmada into his kamandalam. After seeing this, Govinda Bhagavad Pada had realized that this was none other than Lord Shiva's incarnation. So he took Adi Shankaracharya as his disciple immediately. Adi Shankaracharya studied near him for some time and was advised to go to Varanasi and write Vedanta Bhashyam by interacting with numerous other scholars who lived in Varanasi. Adi Shankaracharya then started taking disciples of his own on his way to Varanasi. In Varanasi, a few of his disciples had asked him why he favors a student called Sananda over the others. To demonstrate why, he called Sananda, who was on the other side of the river Ganga. Hearing his call, Sananda, without realizing what he was doing, simply started walking to Adi Shankaracharya. In doing so, he walked over the river Ganga. While he was doing so, because of his Guru Bhakti, lotuses or Padmas in Sanskrit started appearing beneath his feet to allow him to cross the river safely, earning him the name Padmapada. Adi Shankaracharya wrote several scriptures like the Kalabhairavashtakam, Ganga Ashtotaram, Bhagavad Gita Bhashyam, Vivekachudamani, etc. After this, he met the sage Vedavyasa, who, pleased with the knowledge Adi Shankaracharya had, extended his lifetime by 16 years to allow him to profess the Advaita Siddhantam. Then a Chandala comes across his path, because of which Adi Shankaracharya asked him to move aside, to which the Chandala responded with the question, "Are you asking me to move aside, or the soul within me to move aside, or the God that resides in me to move aside?" This made Adi Shankaracharya realize that it is none other than Lord Shiva himself, and composes the Manisha Panchakam. He then comes across Kumarila Bhattu, who was a heavy believer in the Vedas. Kumarila Bhattu had gone to the Buddhists to better understand their ways to be able to beat them in debates. He secretly learned under them for some time. He was then caught and pushed off the top floor of a building. While falling, he exclaimed, "If the Vedas are true, then nothing will happen to me." He only loses an eyeball. He then said the loss of an eyeball was because the word "if" expressed doubt over the Vedas, because of which he lost an eye. However, he realized that he had carried out Guru Droham, and he considered Dehatyagam as the only fitting Prayashchittam to this. When Adi Shankaracharya came to him for a discussion, he was carrying out his self-immolation. Since he was giving up his life and could not discuss then, he redirected Adi Shankaracharya to his disciple Mandana Mishra. Mandana Mishra's house is identified with a few marks, like even his parrots are discussing about the importance of Vedas. Mandana Mishra was a heavy believer in only the Karma Siddhantam, whereas Adi Shankaracharya had come to him with equal importance to Jnana too, and offered a debate. Mandana Mishra refused to even greet Adi Shankaracharya, who had given up karma to become a sannyasi. Upon the suggestion of some scholars, Mandana Mishra agreed to the debate with Adi Shankaracharya, but with a few conditions, such as Adi Shankaracharya should become a grihastha if he loses, and Mandana Mishra would become a sannyasi if it was the other way around. They then chose the wife of Mandana Mishra, Ubhay Bharati, as the judge, who is the incarnation of goddess Saraswati. He then puts flower garlands on each and declares, if the garland associated with a person dries out first, he is declared as the loser of the debate. This debate goes on for 10 days and leads to the loss of Mandana Mishra, who takes sannyasam and decides to become a disciple of Adi Shankaracharya. After this, Adi Shankaracharya's mother, while passing away, remembers her son. Remembering his promise to his mother, he returns to the village Kaladi to perform the last rites of his mother. When no one would agree to give a sannyasi the Agni from their Agnihotram, Adi Shankaracharya starts a fire out of the shoulder of his mother and performs her last rites. One day, a father came to Adi Shankaracharya with his son and complains that the boy would not speak a single word and doesn't mingle with the others. When Adi Shankaracharya spoke to him, the boy replied with what is now known as the Hastamlaka Stotram, which touched upon every aspect of Advaitam. Adi Shankaracharya then takes the boy as his disciple. Giri, who was another devout disciple of Adi Shankaracharya, who was always in service of his guru, was one day late to the lesson. Other students asked Adi Shankaracharya to start without him, as they felt it would make no difference in his understanding, as Giri was a slow learner. Adi Shankaracharya, in response to this, with a single touch gifted Giri with immense knowledge, with which he composes the Totakashtakam, which gives him the name the Totakacharya. Adi Shankaracharya then goes to the Kailasam and brings 5 Atmalingas. Keeping one for himself, he establishes the remaining 4 in 4 different directions of India, at the Jyotir Peetham in the north, the Sarda Peetham in the south, the Govardhana Peetham in the east, and the Dwarka Peetham in the west. He also establishes goddess Saraswati at the Sringeri Peetham. And then, at the age of 32, Adi Shankaracharya disappears into the abode of Lord Shiva. Jaya Jaya Shankara Hara Hara Shankara.